the Masters of Evil, a who's who of the Marvel Universe's deadliest supervillains, assembled under Baron Heinrich Zemo, Captain America's World War II nemesis. And after his death, they came back under Ultron in the guise of the Crimson Cowl, but they weren't finished. Years later, their ultimate triumph was in Avengers 273 to 277, where the new Masters under Baron Helmut Zemo took over Avengers Mansion. Yes, indeed. I'm gonna rate their covers. I'm gonna rate their costumes. I'm even gonna rate their evil. I've got myself an evil meter. Right. This is the Pop Culture Cosmonaut. Like, comment, and subscribe, and help me to bring my villainous schemes to fruition. Yes, indeed. And the leader of these Masters of Evil was Baron Zemo II, Helmut Zemo, son of Heinrich, debuting in Captain America 168 in 1973. And on this one, you say, where's Zemo? Well, the man you see in the red and yellow is the Phoenix. The Phoenix. And it says, you'll gasp when you learn his startling secret identity. And Captain America here is chained above this vat of bubbling lava. All right, as Phoenix here even says, as he's getting kicked by Falcon, swinging in before he had his wings, swinging in on a rope or a string. And Zemo here saying, you're too late, Falcon, too late. By laser blast or by molten lava, Captain America dies now. Alright, very unique and interesting debut for this character. Sal Buscema penciled this one. I like this cover, even though, I mean, it's not Zemo in the way we know him, but hell yeah, I'm still going to give it a 4 out of 5. I dig it. It's a pretty interesting and memorable debut. And when he appears next on a cover is years later. This is 1982 in the month of October. And this is Cap 277, covered by Mike Zeck, Prisoner of Zemo. And this is the Zemo we know. He actually debuts as Zemo a few issues before this, but he isn't on the cover until this one. Captain America is chained in a castle dungeon as Zemo and Arnim Zola stand in the doorway with the light behind them. And these glowing yellow tentacles coming at Cap here, which I believe come from Primus, a creation that could change shape. Yes, Mike Zeck is a great cover artist, and he was a great Cap artist, of course. I love this cover, solid, and spectacular, 4.5, hell yeah. And he appears in the next issue on the next cover, 278, again by Mike Zeck. Zemo, you've pushed me too far. Zemo's mask looming in the background, the castle, the flames, and that's Arnie Roth, Cap's friend in the background. Not bad. I'm not a big fan of the khaki. I'm going to give this one a 4. Yes, moving on again, a few, several issues after that, nearly 2 years later, 299. And on this one, it's Cap's last stand. His friends want to find him. His foes want to kill him. This is the issue right before the death of Red Skull of old age. Paul Neary drew this bizarre-looking cover. A lot of weird-looking faces on this one, don't you think? All right, but you can see Zemo in the top right with his mask over the shoulder of Cap. Not great. I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm not a big fan of the flat yellow in the background either. All right, 3 out of 5. Whatever, man. All right, and the next time we see Zemo, it's not in Captain America. It's in Avengers 277 on the cover. But of course, the takeover of Avengers Mansion began in issue 273. But he appears on the cover in Final Battle versus Captain America amongst the fallen bodies of powerhouses like Thor and Goliath. Wrecker in the far background of the Wrecking Crew. We'll talk about them later. Blackout, him too. And Dr. Druid taking a nap. This cover, this issue, one of the greatest in Avengers history. If you ask me, the battle between these two is fantastic. One of my favorite scenes in comics history. Tom Palmer, John Buscema did this one. Easy 5 stars, baby. Yeah. And again, and later on in Captain America, Zemo returns. And this is the Bloodstone Hunt, a 6-part saga. Issue 357, Diamondback in love with Cap in the letterbox. But Zemo is in love with the bones of Ulysses Bloodstone. You can see it in his face through his mask. What a great artistic touch by Kieran Dwyer. This issue is featuring Batroc's brigade as well, and you see them in the background. That's Machete, Batroc, and Zaran. And the corpse of Ulysses Bloodstone there as well. Teen Cap battles the Sisters of Sin in that circle there on the bottom right. But this cover, I'm giving it a real good 4.5. I love the face showing through the mask. A few issues later, part 3 of the Bloodstone Hunt. This one is the Wheel of Death, as the major players in this story are helpless with spears dangling above them. I love the composition of this cover. Okay, and of course, if you look at each of them, they've got interesting things going on with them. Baron Zemo giving a real quizzical look at Machete, who seems to be smiling somewhat. What are you smiling about? And Diamondback looking at Cap for desperate help. I always loved this cover. Hell yeah, man, this is an easy 5. And then the next one, where we see Zemo on the cover, the last one in the saga, part 6, Cap 362, Kieran Dwyer once again, Zemo Ascendant. Crossbones made it to the cover this time. I love Crossbones. Okay, Zemo levitating above, and he's glowing white hot, and he's got that bloodstone in his forehead with a swirling maelstrom of energy encircling him, to the awe of everybody else involved. Yeah, man, this is a 4.5. Great piece of work. All right, now when it comes to the costume of the man, Baron Zemo, I think this is a classic all-timer. To me, this is a 5-star costume. The full mask, the color contrast, the fuchsia and yellow, and the fur around his shoulders and boots. Nobody looks like Baron Zemo. And when it comes to his level of evil, I'm gonna give him a 9, just short of a 10. I mean, he's almost there, but that vendetta against Cap, I kind of get it. I guess he misunderstood how his father died, but his father was pretty damn evil too. Yeah. It's the cunning, high-tech genius, the fixer, Norbert Ebersol, Baron Zemo's right-hand man during the siege of Avengers Mansion, debuting in Strange Tales 141, but he made his cover debut in 142. This is December 1965, man. Taking on Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and you can see the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are blasting at Fixer and Mentallo, his partner, as they fly away on high-tech vacuum cleaners. All right, they're both wearing matching colors here, gold and brown, on this cover at least. And I like what the Fixer, he's coming right at you, man. He's coming at the reader here. Yeah, the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are just blasting away. I love what's happening on this cover. I think this is cool as hell. This is a great cover debut for the Fixer, despite the coloration. I gotta give this one a 4.5, man. Yeah, all right. And in the very next issue, what have we here? To free a brain slave. They took over the mind of Nick Fury. And you see here, they're in their real colors here. Mentallo on the left, Fixer on the right, looking dastardly and wicked here as they have Nick Fury tied up to this bomb, ticking time bomb, literally tick, tick, tick. And you can see the pink smoke coming from the bottom here. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of villainy. I love the expressions of Fixer and Mentallo and the desperation of Mr. Fury here. This is Kirby again. January 1966 is when this happened. I like this cover a hell of a lot. I'm gonna also give this one a 4.5. Fixer is starting off with a bang for his covers, man. And Mentallo, his buddy, man, they make for a good color contrast, and their outfits are similar enough that they look like they would team up for real. Yeah. Alright, now we don't really see Fixer again for a while for some covers, but Marvel 2-in-1, which was largely a platform for the Thing to break out on his own away from the Fantastic Four. And here it's versus Deathlock. Alright, and take a look, Deathlock is blasting the Thing here. Here to assassinate the president, damn it. Alright, and you see the Fixer in the background here shooting at Reed Richards. Fixer doesn't have his armored vest. I don't even know what to call that contraption, but he doesn't have it here. And Mentallo over there to the left, avoiding a flame blast from Human Torch. Yeah, and a lot going on this cover. That's almost the problem with it. It's a bit chaotic. It is pretty interesting to look at. This is Kirby and Sinnott. Okay, classic art team here. But yeah, Deathlock taking a nice shot at Thing. I'm a big Deathlock believer. I like that dude. Pretty cool in its own way. I don't like the white background, man. Come on, that's a cop-out. I'm going to give this one 3.5. Yes. All right. Now, we don't see the Fixer again for a couple of years, and surprisingly, it's in the Micronauts. And I'm talking about cover appearances mainly. If he appeared in some stories, that's a different thing. But as far as covers go, Micronauts, you know, I didn't really give this one a very good read back in the day. So fill me in, folks, all ye faithful. And on this one, you see the Fixer flying towards us again, or it looks that way, targeting the Micronauts, these tiny warriors you see here, also climbing up on Mentallo, digging into his nose with a spear. And you can see this ship in the background in space. And it's a very interesting, busy cover by Pat Broderick. I haven't named him so far. October 1980. This is a really wild cover. You know, I wish I knew more about Micronauts to give it a fairer assessment. I don't know who they are very well, so I'm not as impressed, but I think this is cool enough to earn itself a 4. This is a good 4 right here. And you know, not that long after, we see him in Marvel Team Up, Spider-Man and Professor X here, issue 118. And you see here, Meeting of the Minds, as Spider-Man kicks Fixer in the ribs. I bet he wish he had his techno vest now. He's dropping his gun on the cover. All right, that's a bad showing on a cover right there. Mentallo looking like he's in the tomb of Lenin. You know what I'm talking about there. That glass case, that sarcophagus, it seems like. And Mentallo is doing battle with Professor X mentally, telepathically. All right. So this one is the work of John Romita Jr. Funnily enough, I don't really see it very well. I don't see the John Romita Jr. style in this one. I'm not a big fan of this cover, and I don't really like the action between Spider-Man and Fixer. I like Professor X and Mentallo in the back, but that's not good enough. I got to give it with 3. Just a 3. All right, and moving on to his next cover appearance, Iron Man 202. Bob Layton Dunn did this one, October of 85. I covered this one in my What the covers of Iron Man in the 80s. He's got Kazar hostage. Kazar looks like he's swooning. I don't know. That's and Iron Man looks caught off guard. You see all the books in the shelves and the background in this home. I don't know. I kind of hate this cover. I don't like this at all. I think it makes everyone look pretty whack. I'm only going to give this one a 2. All right. And the next one that we're going to look at. Yeah, this is an infamous one. Avengers 287. What lurks in the lair of the Fixer? The Fixer in the foreground here, laughing maniacally. Mentallo is strapped up in the ceiling. It looks like that's his homie, man. What's happening? And the Avengers for this time, you got Submariner, Captain Marvel, Dr. Druid, and Black Knight. They're all caught up in the lair of the Fixer, the maniacal look. But hey, that's not really the Fixer. That's the Super Adaptoid. Spoiler alert. This is the heavy metal storyline. Pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, this cover gets a 5 stars. Why not? Overall, let's look at the Fixer. His costume. Interesting color scheme. The green and the blue. I think it's an underrated. Like the Dallas Mavericks back in the day. There, look. Yeah, I like the techno vest. I like his old school mask, the helmet. I dig the fixer's look, man. I'm gonna give it a solid 4, I think. And as far as his evil, I don't know, how evil is he? He's pretty clever, cunning, tricky, manipulative, greedy, murderous, I guess. But, I don't know. I'm gonna give him a 7 in that regard. And look, we might mention him again at the end of this video for other reasons, but we'll leave it at that for now. The mesmerizing, manipulative Moonstone, Dr. Carlos Sofin. But you know what? The original Moonstone was a man by the name of Lloyd Block, and he did battle with Captain America back in the 70s, issue 170 of Captain America here. And he appears a few issues later in 175 in the lawn of the White House here, doing battle again with Cap. But Dr. Carlos Sofin was his psychiatrist, and she hoodwinked him out of his Moonstone, and she took the title. All right, and years later, she goes up against the Hulk in issue 228. Murder is a maid called Moonstone. Interesting here is she clocks him, putting him through a wall, man. That's a big time debut, I gotta say. Herb Trimpe did this cover. I'm giving this a 4 stars. And she meets up, Dr. Sofin meets up with Dr. Sampson, Doc Sampson, a fellow psychiatrist, not knowing her true intentions. But she did battle with the Hulk, and in the next issue, 229, Herb Trimpe strikes again. And you see here, he's whipping a tank at Doc Sampson, who is holding an unconscious Moonstone here. And you see a camera crew and some soldiers in the background. Yeah, I don't know. This is pretty nice, I guess. Not a bad cover. I'm going to give it a solid 3.5. Yeah. All right, and we don't see Moonstone till a few years later here in Avengers 222 in 1982. And the new Masters of Evil. Ooh-wee. All right. You see Whirlwind, Tiger Shark. We're going to talk about him later. And Scorpion here teaming up against Thor, the Wasp, and She-Hulk with an unconscious Hawkeye. Moonstone just getting clocked by She-Hulk, hitting Scorpion here. White background, kind of lazy. This is the work of Greg LaRocque and Al Milgrom. Not a bad cover. A lot going on. Moonstone kind of getting dealt with. I'm going to give it a 3.5. Why not? But you know what? When she comes back with the new Masters of Evil in Under Siege here, she is essentially the Blackout Whisperer. She has control, mental control, over this very powerful man. And Baron Zemo sees her as a bit of competition. So let's not forget about Blackout. So Moonstone, on the evil meter, I'm going to give her a 7. She's pretty manipulative, that's for sure. Of course, redemption comes later. I'm not really counting too much of that in my ratings. A little bit, but not too much. 7, I think, is fair. And as far as her costume goes, I'm going to give it a 3.5. It's pretty distinctive, the yellow and silver look. Her helmet looks a little weird. I'm not really sure why she would choose to wear that. That look, I should say. But yeah, she's pretty distinctive and looks credible as a physical threat as well. So yeah, there you go. I mean, I think that's pretty fair for Moonstone. And next is the enigmatic Blackout. Marcus Daniels, a scientist who got bombarded with dark force energy. And to be able to manipulate this incredible power makes him a devastating weapon. And he debuts in Nova 19 way back in 1975, February of that month. Carmine Infantino and Tom Palmer, Danny Crespi did this cover. And you see he's got Nova encased in dark force, similar to the Phantom Zone, I guess, in Superman. And he says, "I can't escape. His black light beam has me trapped." Well above the city, floating on his discs. The green background, not a fan of that, as well as the fact that that seems to blend in with the water. Not a great, I don't know. I mean, I want to like this cover more than I do. I can give it a 3.5 though. It has the makings of a good one. I just don't like the background. Alright. And we see him again years later in 1983 in Avengers 2:37. And on this cover by Al Milgrom and Joe Sinnott, you see Blackout in the background encasing Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, in a black ball of energy. That's an omen of things to come during the Masters of Evil saga. And you see Star Fox, Spider-Man, She-Hulk, and look, it's Moonstone flying in the background as well. Look at that. Captain America taking on Electro, Rhino, and of course the Wasp. She-Hulk in the foreground. A lot going on in this cover. By the way, Electro and Blackout, he almost looks like Electro 2, doesn't he? Yeah, I always wondered about that. He's got so much electrical theme on his costume, but yeah, anyways, there's a lot going on this cover. I'm just not sure if I really like it that much. Yeah, I'm gonna just give this one a 3. So be it. But you know what? Of course, we see Blackout appear later on a cover. This is in the final battle of Avengers 277. I already spoke about it. But you see, he's knocked out on the cover here. But actually, in the issue itself, he dies of a massive cerebral hemorrhage at the end of this story. It was a major turning point. His Dark Force energy encased the mansion, which made it impenetrable for quite a while. And Moonstone had control over his mind due to their time spent in Project Pegasus from years before. Once Moonstone was out of the picture, Baron Zemo took over. So again, the death of Blackout was the beginning of the end for the Masters of Evil. Spoiler alert! Yes, and as far as his evil, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's basically in a trance throughout the Masters of Evil saga. His mind is not his own. That brings him down a bit. I'm gonna just give him a 4. And as far as his costume goes, as I mentioned, the similarity to Electro, the impracticality of that mask that he's got, yeah, but it's such a distinctive look. I like the color contrast. I'm gonna give his costume a 4. It's the glowing-eyed gargantuan, Goliath, also known as Eric Jostin. But you know what? He debuted as Power Man all the way back in Avengers 21. This is August of 1965. Jack Kirby Wallywood did this one, introducing Power Man. Who is he? The bitter taste of defeat. And you see, the Avengers, this is one of their weaker lineups. Cap, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Hawkeye. They got beat down by Power Man. I think this is a pretty cool introduction to this dude. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one 4 stars, man. By the way, he was Power Man for a while. I'm gonna have to gloss through and speed through a lot of these to get to Goliath. But he's back in the next issue, 21, The Road Back. And look at this, a looming Power Man looking like a high school bully, throwing Cap against the lockers, and Enchantress, the cheerleader, cheering him on. Yeah, interesting. You got the floating heads at the bottom. I think this is a pretty damn distinctive cover in its own way. Yeah, I'm not gonna rate it though, because I gotta keep it moving. He's back in issue 29, and look, it's Goliath, that's Hank Pym in the green and yellow costume, and Power Man here swinging a big log, a big stick at him. This power unleashed. Alright, and we're gonna take the elevator up to the top floor to Goliath, so we're gonna just speed through some of these. He appears on a few floating head covers, Avengers 30. He's back in Tales of Suspense against Cap and the sword. Well, the swordsman here throwing his sword towards Cap, Avengers Annual, and then later on with the Lethal Legion. All right, he's a member of this crew with the Swordsman, Grim Reaper, M'Baku, and the Living Laser. And at one point, he battles Luke Cage for the name Power Man in Luke Cage's comic. I covered this in my Luke Cage video. And the Lethal Legion, of course, never left. But he changes his name again in 1980 to the Smuggler in Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man. But what about Goliath? Well, finally in Iron Man Annual 7, this is July of 1984, the work of Luke McDonnell. And I covered this one in my Wonder Man video, because you see, it is Eric Jostin, Goliath, holding Wonder Man in his grasp, and his eyes are glowing. He's got ionic powers similar to Wonder Man. And he's taking on Hawkeye and Iron Man, of course, a Goliath berserk, as you see there in the bottom. I dig this cover, man. I think this is pretty cool stuff. I like how Goliath looks as a real threat, taking on 3 Avengers at once and being able to just hold Wonder Man like that. Not bad. I give this one a 4-star rating, baby. Yeah. All right, and then we see him again in West Coast Avengers number 2. And look who's there. You see the floating heads of the West Coast Avengers. Wonder Man getting bombarded with rays. Grim Reaper taunting him with Necra. Man-Ape M'Baku. Black Talon, Ultron, and there you see Goliath being the tech dude. I give this one a 3. But yeah, of course we see him during the Under Siege. He plays a big role in the Masters of Evil takeover of Avengers Mansion. And on issue 274, that's part 2 in the saga, Hercules' Last Stand, where he receives his infamous beatdown, courtesy of the Wrecking Crew, Mr. Hyde, and Goliath. And this is a great look at Goliath as a real threat. We're going to come back to this cover later, of course. And you see him in 277. We've talked about this issue before, this cover before. He got wrecked. He's out of it. He's done. But he did a lot of damage during this saga. We see him again after the Masters of Evil takeover in Web of Spider-Man during Acts of Vengeance. And on this one, Spider-Man was imbued with cosmic power, which allowed him to take on the likes of Goliath. This cover by Alex Saviuk is not bad at all. You see, the floating heads kind of bother me a little bit. I like the scale. I like seeing Spider-Man looking tiny at the bottom. One thing, I kind of wish that more shadow was used to give Goliath a bit more sense of size in comparison, but I might be nitpicking. This is a 4-star cover. And in Web of Spider-Man, a few issues later, Acts of Vengeance, it says here, the banner, but I believe this was after the whole thing had wrapped up. But yeah, look at this. This time Spidey doesn't have any cosmic powers, and he's taking on a whole bunch of folk. Graviton, the Brothers Grimm, the Trapster, Paste Pot Pete. And look who's on Goliath's shoulder. It's Titania, one of the other members of the Masters that we will talk about soon enough. All right. He looks like a real threat to Spidey. He looks mad, too, on top of this roof. I'm going to give this one a solid 4, baby. Yes. And the next one, the next issue, the Acts of Vengeance Aftermath, Web of Spider-Man 65. The Kingpin is now involved. All right. No more cosmic powers. He's still dealing with the same people that he faced on the cover previous. And you see Goliath in the bottom here punching through the glass. Kingpin, this looks like his building. It's like, hey, I just got those new windows put in. Hey. All right, but I like this sense of scale. I like how Goliath comes off on this. And I'm going to give this one a solid 4. A lot of pretty cool appearances by Goliath. Now, as far as the evil meter goes, well, he's been a supervillain. He'd been a supervillain for a long time under different names. I don't know. I mean, he's pretty bad. 6, is that a fair assessment? He was always getting involved in some villainous antics, was he not? And as far as his costume goes, well, I don't know. I mean, he's got a pretty typical costume for any hero and villain. I don't really think his costume gives you a sense that he is Goliath. If he was just a regular sized dude, what would you think of him? You'd call him Y-Man? It looks like there's the letter Y on his chest and on his head. So I don't know. I mean, I give him a 3. I think that's pretty safe. But big time enemy, and of course, things change a little bit over time. We'll talk about that later. From the biggest to the smallest, this is Yellowjacket, Rita Damara. Yeah, but you know, the name of Yellowjacket debuted with Henry Pym all the way back in Avengers 59, one of his many personas. And he gave up the Yellowjacket name years later in issue 230 of Avengers. But Rita Damara, this young lady, debuts as Yellowjacket in issue 264 of Avengers, this classic cover by John Buscema, Tom Palmer. It's unmistakable. All right, and you see here, and now, the all-new Yellowjacket as Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, in miniature form, takes a blast at her. This is an impressive cover, especially for a debut of a character. And in this issue, you see Rita Damara stealing the Yellowjacket costume in a very creative fashion. And when she takes the costume for her damn self, you know, Wasp isn't having that. And when they get into battle, it's interesting. Yellowjacket has never shrank before, so psychologically she can't handle it, and she starts bugging out when she shrinks, and that lets Wasp take care of her. That cover, I'm gonna give that a 4.5. That's a hell of a cover, ain't it? 4.5. All right, John Buscema Palmer done did it again. And in the next one, by the same team, this is 271. And on this cover, you see Yellowjacket flanked by the Grey Gargoyle. And Screamin' Mimi, who were also Masters of Evil, but they didn't make it to the Under Siege of the Mansion issues later. And Black Knight, Wasp, and Paladin facing off against these three. Yeah, I don't know. John Buscema and Palmer, great artists. This is not one of my favorite covers of them, though. I think it's the red, just the flat red. It's a bit weird to me that nothing is happening around, just red. So I'm going to give this one a 3.5. Not bad. That team can't ever do bad, but they can do a hell of a lot better. And, you know, Rita Damara, Yellowjacket, reappears in Solo Avengers 12. This cover... kind of weird, you know, Abomination versus Hawkeye. This is Mike Macklin and Al Milgrom, and Yellowjacket in this rectangular ad, it looks like almost, plus of all people, Yellowjacket. And in this interesting issue, the Fixer breaks Yellowjacket out of prison, and he ends up trying to make the moves on her. She's not feeling it. And you start to see the good girl turn. She saves a small child. She clocks Fixer in the face, and she ends up planting one on the kisser of Dane Whitman, the Black Knight. So, you know, years later, she becomes a legit heroine. So when it comes to my evil meter, I'm just gonna give her a 2. I mean, she was in the Masters of Evil. She committed some, you know, nothing too heinous, I suppose, but she done redeemed herself years later, and pretty soon after, I would say. And as far as her costume goes, I'm going to give it a 3.5. She does not look villainous. She looks like a heroine, but she fits what she's going for. Rita Damara, Yellowjacket. He's coming in like a wrecking ball, but this ain't Miley Cyrus. It's the Absorbing Man, Carl Crusher Creel. Yeah, and Carl Creel, man, great name. He debuts all the way back in Journey into Mystery with Thor 114, before Thor had his solo title. It was Journey into Mystery. This is back in January of 1965. And this hellacious cover was done by Jack Kirby. Chick Stone, Stan Goldberg, Artie Simek did it. Now look at this titanic confrontation between Thor and the debuting Absorbing Man wearing his prison pants. The stronger I am, the sooner I die. There's a lot of text on this cover. And I gotta say, I love this cover. I think it really puts over the Absorbing Man for his first appearance. He's bringing the ruckus. He's a certified ruckus bringer from day one. But I think the downfall of this cover is the excessive text. Okay, we didn't need all that. That brings it down. I give this one a 4.5, but this almost got a 5. That close. And, Absorbing Man appears in the very next issue, The Vengeance of the Thunder God. Check this one out. Pretty interesting stuff with a lot going on, a lot of chaos. But we're going to keep it moving. Absorbing Man is a prolific cover subject. He's all over the place. We don't have time for everything. Thor 120, he comes on back. You see Thor forging his hammer and creeping Absorbing Man coming up on the left. That's a pretty cool image. And then he's back in the very next issue, 121. A giant Absorbing Man smacking the hell out of Thor, getting him out of there. Interesting stuff. White background, kind of lazy buildings, but interesting cover. The huge Absorbing Man is a threat indeed. 122, he's still hanging around. Absorbing Man, a hell of a foe for Thor. Look at this. Odin, good lord. He's taking it to the top. And he's still there. 123. Loki and Odin. And of course, the Absorbing Man's floating head. The floating head covers. A staple of this time. And look at Thor breaking through while the universe trembles. But yeah, we're not going to talk about those. I want to skip on over to Incredible Hulk 125. He's branching out. This cover in December 1969. The Hulk versus the Absorbing Man fighting on top of a rocket. And look at the land below. That's what I love about this cover. And the curvature of the Earth. That's an interesting look. They're high up there. And the stars in the background. This rocket ship. Interesting setting, venue, you could say, for this battle. Absorbing Man's taking on Thor and the Hulk. He's aiming for the top, man. This is Herb Trimpe, Marie Severin, and Sam Rosen on the duties. This one gets a 4, man. This is a pretty cool-ass cover, man. But let's go to the next one. This is Mighty Thor 206. John Buscema done it. And the frame, the blue frame, around this 1972 cover in the month of September. Nice action going on here, yes. One thing I noticed, look at Thor's top. He only has 3 dots on it. What's up with that? I think there's a bit too much text on this. I got a problem with that. I think at the bottom, the power of the Absorbing Man. That might be, and maybe one of the word bubbles from Absorbing Man. That's enough. Don't clutter things. That's why I'm going to give this a 4, which is a great score. But it could have maybe done better, right? John Buscema, fantastic. Probably my favorite artist of all the times. But we're going to move on to issue 236. This one was in March of 1975. Without me even saying, I think you guys know who drew this, right? Look at Thor's face. Look at his face. That's a Gil Kane signature look right there, isn't it? And look at how hard he's getting hit here by Absorbing Man's wrecking ball. Still shirtless, forever shirtless. Looks like they're in a shopping mall. Look at the toys in the background. A clown toy right at the feet of Absorbing Man. That's a weird look. But yeah, look at the amount of force. And Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, being shaken from his grasp. And those shoppers on the escalator, looking at... this is a Class A struggle, man. This cover by Kane and Esposito, I'm going to give it a 4. Pretty solid stuff. And let's move on to the next one, man. This is Hulk 209. And this was a 1976 December, just for Christmas cover. Wow. And look at this, a gigantic Absorbing Man has come back for revenge. In a construction site here, choking the hell out of Hulk with his wrecking ball chain. And what Crusher Creel wants, he gets. And you see the workers below fleeing for their lives as Absorbing Man absorbs all the metal and brick around him. I love this cover, I really do. I think the only thing that prevents it from being a 5, I kind of feel like the Hulk looks a little too big. I think the perspective looks a little odd because of that. The size of the workers below, I don't know. Absorbing Man looks huge compared to them, but not that big compared to Hulk. So I'm going to give it a 4.5, which I think is a great score. Ed Hannigan, Frank Giacoia, and Danny Crespi were on duty. Yeah. And we're going to keep it moving here. This is Avengers 183. I'm not going to talk too much about this one. George Perez did it. Great artist. But yeah, I can't stop for everything. And he's fighting them all, as he's known to do, not just the Hulk or Thor. He can take on all comers. Look at this one, Avengers 184, a gigantic Absorbing Man again. This cover's come up quite a few times, well, at least once or twice on this channel, I think. And for that reason, I might not talk too much. But I give it a solid 4, man, almost a 4.5. I think this is maybe I don't know, give it a 4. I'll stick with a 4. Nice stuff. But yeah, let's talk about the next one. I'd like to talk about some of the more unusual ones. Hulk 261. This is Frank Miller, which happened in 1981, the month of April. This is a striking cover. Carl Creel hunched in the, above these Easter Island looking statues. Again, the Absorbing Man. Interesting circular sun in the background. Kind of reminds me of Looney Tunes, but it's well done. I like the coloration on this. But, however, I've got to say this. I do not like the Hulk on this cover at all. He looks like a damn creep. He's way in the foreground, and he looks moronic. He looks like a cretin, to borrow the verbiage of a lot of characters. That brings this one down to a 3.5. Frank Miller is very hit or miss. He's hit and miss on this cover simultaneously. 3.5. All right, moving on down. Dazzler 118. Dazzler 18. I can't read all of a sudden. Dazzler, the bright lights of the Dazzler got me. But this is a really, really impressive cover, isn't not? Look at this, Dazzler hitting Absorbing Man with all this light, and he's become translucent, has he not? Look at that. He's become light. He's absorbed that. But he's huge, and he looks incredibly powerful as these civilians flee for their lives. And this 1982 cover in April was done by Bill Sienkiewicz. All right. Unique, unforgettable, unlike other covers. There's no text on this cover as well. I kind of wish there was, though. Maybe just something. Tell me something about what's going on. I'm going to give it a 4.5. Hell yeah. All right, now he appears on the next issue, still getting blasted here. Black Bolt, bellowing for some damn reason. Yeah, but you know what? Let's keep it moving. We got a lot to get through, don't we? All right, but look at this cover. Amazing Spider-Man 283. Who's he with? He's with his lady. That's Titania in civilian garb. The word garb I love. I learned that from Marvel Comics too. She's just wearing a blouse. But this cover, which is done by Bob Layton in 1986 during the black and white Spidey costume era. This is on a tarmac. And look, let's switch things over for a second. We're going to talk more about Titania. Because, let's kill two birds with one stone. But this is a very memorable cover. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. Yeah, Titania. Real name, Mary McPherson. We see her in Avengers Under Siege, do we not? And on the cover of Avengers 275, Buscema and Palmer, of course. October of 86. You can see here, it's Absorbing Man and Titania in a hospital, sent there to finish off a convalescing Hercules. But the Ant-Man, Scott Lang, and the Wasp are there on duty. The two smallest Avengers, well, actually Ant-Man was not an Avenger at all, but going up against these two heavy hitters. All right, memorable stuff. You see Absorbing Man and Titania from the back. I think it works pretty nicely here. But, my standards for Buscema and Palmer are maybe impossibly high. This is good stuff. I'm going to give it a solid 4. All right, and you know, of course, throughout that time, Absorbing Man appears again in Thor 375 and 376, and look at 383. This one I've covered before. You see a whole bunch of supervillains, Enchantress, up to some no good Nick stuff, and Titania and Absorbing Man, they're right in the mix, aren't they? I love this cover. But yeah, let's keep it moving. She appears again, Web of Spider-Man 64. I covered this one recently as well. She's on the shoulder of Goliath. And she appears in the next Web of Spider-Man during Acts of Vengeance. Again, dealing with Spider-Man alongside Goliath, the Brothers Grimm, Graviton, and Paste Pop Pete, the Trapster. Yeah. All right, and this one I really want to talk about. Thor 436. Ron Friends. Al Milgrom did it. And look at this. Absorbing Man with Titania, who's got his back, taking on Thor. Interesting stuff. He's back, the Uncanny Absorbing Man. I'm not a big fan of the yellow in the background, but I'm going to give this one a pretty nice 4 out of 5. Yeah. So let's get into it. The Absorbing Man in particular. What's his evil level? Yeah, I mean, he's pretty bad, but he's redeemable. I mean, he came around later on to do some good guy stuff. But I'm not taking too much of that into account. I'm only mainly talking about their origins and maybe up until, I don't know, let's say 80s or early 90s. But I'm going to give him a 6 on the evil scale. And as far as his costume goes, what am I judging here? Prison pants? In best case scenarios, he's maybe wearing a pair of Dockers or something. So he never wore a shirt. He doesn't even wear nice shoes. I'm going to give him a 2. What can I do? There's nothing to work with. All right, and Titania, as far as her evil, what can I say? I don't think she's as bad as him, but maybe a 5? I don't know. Is that fair? I know she probably had some good moments too, but 5, yeah, let's stick with that. Costume-wise, I'm going to give her a 4. I think as far as what she's going for, I think it works. All right, enough of these lovebirds. We got to keep it moving to some other folk. Please, get out of the water, man. It's Tiger Shark. Todd Arliss. Todd Arliss was an Olympic swimmer, but things changed for him. And Namor going in for the rescue. Lady Dorma on the ocean floor under threat of Tiger Shark. And in this issue, Todd Arliss undergoes this process combining the properties of a tiger shark with Namor himself. So he ends up being a super powered tank, underwater tank. Yeah, rechristened Tiger Shark, even with sharp teeth at his disposal. To me, this cover is a great way to depict a debuting character. It's not a 5, though. I'm going to give it a very solid 4. Hell yeah. And he appears in the very next issue, Submariner 6, Death to the Vanquished. Yes, John Buscema, once again, was all over this. And this titanic battle between Namor and Tiger Shark over a trident. Namor and Todd. Yeah, I like the ferocity in both of their faces here. And it seems like serious business for damn sure. Yeah, I don't know. The red, is that I don't know if that's a misstep, but you can't do blue all the time just because it's Submariner. So I guess that's an interesting change of pace for sure. I like this cover a lot too, man. I think I'm going to give it a 4.5. I'm just going to do it, man. I enjoy this one quite a bit. Yeah. All right, now, as an archenemy of Namor, he, of course, comes back issues later. This is Submariner 24. This is in January of 1970. Hey, John Buscema was still up to his old tricks. He was all over the place, man. All right, on this one, you see they're on top of an orca, all right, on top of a killer whale. Face it, Fishman, this is your last ride. In the talons of Tiger Shark. Talons? talons. That's an interesting word choice. And then as it says here, with the wildest array of villains yet, the human killer whale, Dr. Dorcas, the warlord Crane. And look beneath this leaping orca, leaping killer whale here. There's somebody on a boat there, like a catamaran. Is that what it's called? Sailboat of some kind. That gives some interesting size perspective, I think. The background, though, the water just seems to kind of disappear, doesn't it? It's like it's fallen off the edge of something. Flat earthers are going to love this depiction. Yeah, anyways, I don't know. Is that a misstep? Is that a mistake? I like this cover, though. I think it can overcome that background discrepancy. I think I'm still going to give it a 4. Yes, indeed. All right, and in issue 45, this is a couple of years, well, quite a while later. This is October of 1971. This was the era of Marvel Comics covers with this novel-like frame, this red frame around the inner image. Tiger Shark blasting a gun at Namor high in the skies. Tiger Shark stalks the skies. What the hell's going on? And this one I think is unmistakable. It is Gil Kane, indeed. Frank Giacoya, Mike Esposito, Sam Rosen. Yes. I like the pose that Tiger Shark is striking here. I think he's what makes for this cover being so cool. And him busting out a gun, that's kind of an odd, jarring image. You wouldn't expect that at all. And being in the sky, so far from water. But it's a striking cover, and yeah, I gotta give it up, man. I gotta give it a 4. I'm just gonna give it a 4. I think this is cool. I can't front. Yeah. All right. Now moving on to the next one on our list. This is an interesting one. Hulk 160, October of 1972. It's a nightmare in Niagara Falls. My God, I've been to Niagara Falls so many times in my damn life. And this is a pretty unimpressive depiction of it. Looks like a regular ass waterfall. Give me a break. All right. The Hulk with this cascading water over him. Looking like a soap commercial. The death-dealing return of Tiger Shark diving from within the water. It looks like, and there's people up top on that platform. Again, doesn't really give the right perspective. I think doesn't show the grandeur, the grandiosity of Niagara Falls. All right, at least the Canadian side. I can't speak for the American side, but hey, maybe that's what. But part of this takes place in Canada, so they should have just gone all out and done better with it. So Herb Trimpe was all over this, but I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I gotta say, you gotta do better for Niagara, man. All right, next up, we've got Super Villain Team Up #1, numero uno. And this one here, Ron Wilson, Sam Giacoya did this one, and this was in May of '75. Yeah, so this one, you see the looming face of Doctor Doom teaming up with Namor. But Namor is getting caught up by Tiger Shark, trying to eventually probably gonna sink in the full Nelson. All right, and look, Atuma is about to hammer Namor with that giant spiked mallet. And look what Doom is saying. You refuse Dr. Doom's offer of an alliance, Namor. Then so be it. From this moment forth, the Submariner stands alone. I don't know about my Dr. Doom voice. I'm gonna have to work on that. Yeah, but this is a big time confrontation, and I love the bubbles forming behind Atuma's hammer. That's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, so this one, I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm just gonna give it a 4. I like this cover. I think it's impressive stuff. Very memorable. Dr. Doom is on it, and he always is a welcome addition to a cover. All right, now I'm gonna maybe skip over the next few. Supervillain Team Up 2 again features Tiger Shark doing battle with Namor, and Doom is involved again, and number 3 as well. Namor and Doom going at it, and you can see Namor punching Tiger Shark into a tizzy. He's got him all flipped over. But yeah, let's move past that. On to Ms. Marvel 15. Interesting one that came out in December of 77. John Buscema once again, Joe Sinnott, and John Romita Sr. Yes, Tiger Shark got Namorita here, looking like Princess Leia from Star Wars, and the third one, Return of the Jedi, damn it. And got her by the ponytail on a pier, and Ms. Marvel jumping into the fray. Back off, Blondie, or die along with Submariner's little friend. The shark is a very deadly beast, and he looks pretty fierce and deadly indeed on this cover. I don't know, man. I might be convincing myself to give it a 4.5. I originally had it written as a 4 in my notes, but 4.5, I'm gonna bump it up. I like this cover a lot. I like the boat cruising in the river here as well, in color, whereas the rest is all gray. That's pretty cool. Yes. All right. Next up, in the very next issue, all right, we've got Ms. Marvel being caught up by a squid. Or by a kraken, I suppose, but probably a squid. War beneath the waves. Tiger Shark unleashes the deadliest trap of all. And look at the fear in the eyes of Ms. Marvel. Yeah. I don't know. Again, like, the more I look at this cover, the more I like it. I think I'm going to make an executive decision. I was originally going to have it as a 4. I'm going to make it a 4.5. This is pretty cool stuff. I like the perspective on the squid. I like the desperate pose of Ms. Marvel here. Her facial expression, that's perfect. Tiger Shark, I like him being in the background, kind of cheering things on. Yeah, this was Dave Cockrum. This time it wasn't Mr. Buscema. Terry Austin, Danny Crespi were all over this. January of 1978. 4.5, yes. All right, and he does come back in Avengers 222 with the new Masters of Evil. I talked about this one with Moonstone. You see her getting swatted into Scorpion. And of course, he appears on the infamous cover where Hercules puts up his last stand against the Masters of Evil in Avengers Mansion. So Tiger Shark, he's had a pretty interesting history, going beyond the water at times. But when it comes to the evil meter, I'm going to give him a 7. I think he's a pretty bad cat, man, a pretty bad dude. He might even be an 8, but I'm going to settle on a 7. Give him some room to maybe do better. And as far as his costume goes, I'm going to give him a pretty solid 4. He's very distinctive. That fin is not really a costume, it's part of him. And his suit keeps him hydrated when he's out of water. Aquaman should think of something like that. But yeah, man, Tiger Shark, very distinctive, interesting character with a pretty cool name. So a whole lot of unfettered hooliganism is being brought into the equation when the Wrecking Crew is on the scene, led by the Wrecker, Dirk Garthwaite. Thunderball, that's Dr. Elliot Franklin. He's a genius. Bulldozer, Henry Camp, not a genius. And finally, Pile Driver, Brian Kalusky. They're all a bunch of tough guys. Alright, but they started out as one, and that was the Wrecker in Thor 148 in 1967. And in this issue, the Wrecker starts out as a petty criminal. He finds Loki's helmet, and Carnilla discovers him and thinks that it's Loki and bestows this incredible power on him. And things were never the same again. He takes on Thor, fights him in the very next issue, fights him again. He goes after the big dogs. And then in 1974, in the month of September, Defenders 17, here comes the Wrecking Crew for the first time. Yeah, and in the very next issue, Defenders 18, this was done by Gil Kane, Dave Cockrum, Gaspar Saladino, baby, yes. They make their cover debut. The Defenders here taking on the Wrecking Crew for the first time. It's the Wrecker, Thunderball, Piledriver, Bulldozer, Put them all together and you've got the Wrecking Crew. Hell yeah. All right, and they're bringing it, man. I love Doctor Strange giving Piledriver a solid backhand slap on the cover. Not sure what that's all about, but you see it's going down on this cover. I don't know, I still think it could have been a better debut for these dudes. And by the way, I covered the Wrecking Crew in a previous video, so I graded this one before. I gave it a 3 before. I'm giving it a 3.5 this time. I changed my mind. I'm putting it up by half a point, half a star. I dig this one. This is cool stuff. But in the very next issue, I think it's even better. Yes, it's Defenders 19, the story we had to call Doomball, and here you see the Wrecking Crew done laid out, the Defenders. This issue is notable, especially for the origin of Thunderball. Very interesting. If you don't mind, let's get into it. And in this, Doctor Strange questions him. Explain yourself, Thunderball. What gamma bomb is missing? What? Yeah. Explain myself. Why not? I suppose every condemned man deserves to know why he's gonna die. My story began a couple years ago, in the days when I was an up-and-coming nuclear physicist. People used to call me the Black Bruce Banner, and with good reason, because I took part of Banner's gamma bomb research and did him one better. Banner had developed the gamma bomb. I developed one you could hold in your hand, one with 10 times the power of the original. I'd begun my research at Caltech, but I built the bomb after I'd moved on to Richmond Enterprises. I took my work to Richmond's right-hand man, Pennyworth. That was my first mistake. I arrived the next morning to find the bomb gone from my lab, along with all my notes. I also discovered that the bomb had been patented in the company's name, not mine. That's when I made my second mistake. I got mad. And you see, no, Dr. Franklin, you do not understand. All work done on company time, on company property, belongs to the company. Bull. I did the work on my time, Pennyworth. That bomb, those patents, rightfully belong to me. And one way or another, I'm going to have them. Pennyworth only laughed and showed me the fine print on my contract. Richmond's lawyers had done a good job, and I'd been crucified. Legally, it seemed I had no claim to the bomb. But I'm a man of my word, magician, Doctor Strange. I said I'd get my bomb back, and I did. Almost. My third mistake, I'd forgotten about the sensor web built into the main lab. A sensor web tied into the plant's security computers. And then the security come running up. And I took off through the steel mill, but I was no athlete. I didn't have a prayer. And the security run after him, warning to shoot at him. But he drops the bomb. He drops the bomb. Right into a vat of molten steel. Steel needed for the core construction of 3 Richmond Enterprises skyscrapers. So all I had to do was find my bomb was to find the right building and knock it down. The Wrecking Crew found the building. I found the bomb's adamantium casing, but someone else found it first. Someone else has the bomb. And if that someone else isn't careful, he'll detonate it, and 20 million people will die. That's incredible stuff right there. That's a hell of an origin. Thunderball, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Alright, but moving on, man. I gotta give this one a 4-star, first of all. This cover, hell of a lot of drama on this cover. Yeah. But let's move on. They fight Iron Fist in issue 11. We're gonna speed through this one. I dig this cover too. The one I really want to talk about here is Thor 304. I adore this cover, which happened in November of 1980. They've surrounded Thor, and Thor got his hammer swinging around. He knows he's going to have to contend with some serious business from the Wrecking Crew. All right. Like I said, I've covered this one before. And the thing that I think really is interesting about this one is when the wrecking crew crashed through a McDonald's and they tell the people here, the wrecking crew's here and we're hungry. We don't wait in no lines. Now everybody clear out. Did you hear me? I said, get out. All right, they get everyone up out of there. And look at this, they just help themselves to burgers here saying, yeah, that's better. I hate being cramped when I'm chowing down. Man, if they had Big Macs in prison, I might have stayed. Hey, with nobody here, how can I get one of these here Macs made my way? Hey, they only do that at Burger Queen, you moron. And they sit down in a booth. All right, let's us get down to cases. How's we gonna get Goldilocks out in the open so we can trash them? All right, that's pile driver talking. Hey, no sweat. We'll flatten something real big and important. When he hears the record did it, he'll come running. All right, so take a look, man. They're just chowing down. Humanizes these guys a little bit, don't you think? All right. Oh, of course. We see them in Spectacular Spider-Man. We see them in Avengers for the big time siege of Avengers Mansion. Hercules' Last Stand, infamous role played in this ass whooping that the son of Zeus received. Hell yeah. All right, they reappear in issue 383 of Thor. I've covered this a few times. Pretty cool stuff, great cover. And what I really want to talk about, Mighty Thor 418, Fear Kills. This is a classic issue. Hercules been traumatized by his ass whooping years before, and the wrecking crew were a big part of that. They encounter him in real life on the streets, and they put it on him again, man. That tells you about the wrecking crew. They're no joke. Yeah, this is Ron Friends, Joe Sinnott in their old school kick. I really enjoy this cover quite a bit from April of 1990. I give it a 4.5. Yeah. And this time around, I'm going to talk about another cover they did. This is Alpha Flight 119. This is in February in 1993. You rarely see the pop culture cosmonaut venture into the 90s this far. All right, but this cover I feel is quite old school enough to warrant this attention. They're going to you up. They're going to bring it to you. The Alpha Flight logo been smashed and it's hanging by a thread, and the wrecking crew is back. I find this is a pretty effective reintroduction to these dudes, man. This is Pat Broderick that did this one. Interesting stuff. And in this issue, Thunderball has a very introspective moment where he observes the wrecker and starts to think about his own schemes. All right, he's been scheming on that power for his own to become leader. He's much smarter than the rest of these cats. Yeah, just that thirst for power. That's part of what Thunderball's all about. Yeah, this cover for a relatively, I'm going to call it a new school because that's 90s to me is new school. Anyways, I like this cover a lot, actually. I give it a 4.5. I wouldn't have expected to. I think this really, really is almost iconic for them, and gives them a good look, makes them look like a threat, makes them somehow look like they could be good guys at one point. Are they redeemable? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, but you know how we're getting down in this video, right? We're talking about their evil quotient, right? What do you think about the wrecking crew? I mean, there's worse out there, but you know, they don't care about who they wreck and destroy and the damage they cause. Innocent people have undoubtedly been, you know, done in by some of the stuff they've done. Do they care? I don't know. I'm gonna give them 6s. All right, 6s. I originally was gonna give Thunderball a 5 because his motivation with that gamma bomb, you get where he's coming from, don't you? But he's also scheming a whole lot on record. You know, he's trying to take the position and put him away and stuff. So I don't know. I think he's may as well just give him a 6. All right. As far as costumes go, we're gonna start with the wrecker. I love his look. I think it nails what they're trying to go for. I'm gonna give him a 5. He looks like a like a ultimate crook, an ultimate hoodlum. You know, he's an inspiration to criminals. I think I've said that in my other video. If I was a rank and file street crook, I'd think, man, if I could only be like the Wrecker. You know, he made it. He made it to the big time. Yeah, Bulldozer, I'm gonna give him 4. I think he's got a pretty distinctive look. Sometimes he has a different kind of head or neck harness kind of thing going on with him. So at least he's got some variety too. He's like a mini juggernaut, or at least trying to be. For the others, for Thunderball, unfortunately, I'm just gonna give him a 3. I think his costume is very generic. I like the colors, but there's nothing that stands out about it at all. It's as plain as you could get, kinda. And Pile Driver, I'm gonna say the same. I think it's very plain, very basic. I'm gonna give them both 3s. But yeah, that's how the Wrecking Crew gets down, man. They're always good for what, or down for whatever. But they're bad to the bone. It's the maniacal madman, Mr. Hyde. You know, and he's also known as Dr. Calvin Zabo. And this is one of Marvel Comics' oldest villains, and this guy's bad to the bone, man. And he debuts in Journey into Mystery 99. And look at this. The mighty Thor meets the most dramatic superfoe of the year, the mysterious Mr. Hyde. There's a lot of chatter on this cover. I am not reading it all, or we'll be here forever. Alright, but he's breaking through a wall. And I believe that's Jane Foster reeling back. And in this issue, you know, his origin, he tries to get a job with Dr. Donald Blake, unknowing that he's actually Thor. And look at this. Dr. Don Blake. I've heard of him. He's the famous lame doctor. It should be a simple matter to get a job with him, and then rob him later, at my leisure. What a douche! What a douche! And he's not even Mr. Hyde yet. And look what Dr. Blake says. I've heard about you, Zabo. You're no good. You've been fired from every job you've ever held. I can't use you. Show him out, Miss Foster. That's Jane Foster, Thor's main squeeze on Earth. And he vows revenge. And he does a typical mad scientist stuff. Takes, you know, concocts some potions, and the rest is history. As far as the cover goes, I don't know. It's a Jack Kirby, Don Heck piece of work. It's decent. I give it a 3.5 stars. All right, but let's keep it moving. There's a gauntlet of covers for Mr. Hyde. I can't be, you know, lollygagging in this video or in this section. Journey into Mystery 100, the very next. You'll never forget Thor's showdown with Mr. Hyde. He's got Jane Foster gripped by her wrist. All right. Yeah, this looks like pretty serious business. And you know, like, it keeps going, man. 105. Mr. Hyde is back, this time with the Cobra. That's his partner in crime. All right. And look at this, back on the rampage again. The Cobra and Mr. Hyde. And interesting cover. Once again, Jack Kirby. I don't know if that guy ever slept in the 60s. He was drawing everything. It's insane. I like this cover, though. Pretty good stuff. I'm not grading it, though. Let's keep it going. 106. Look at this. They're back. And Mr. Hyde, you know, trying to cinch in a bear hug or something on Thor. It's not that easy. And, you know, Cobra with some, I don't know what the hell he's doing with that Kirby contraption. No idea what machine that is. All right. But they've taken his hammer away. I guess that's what the machine is. A hammer remover. All right. But, yeah, interesting stuff. But, yeah, we don't have time to be talking about everything. They're back again, my God, in issue 111, Journey into Mystery still. And look at the caption here. We decided that this cover is too beautiful to spoil with captions, so here it is. You figure it out. Yeah, thanks. You know, you could have left that out completely. I do like this cover, but if they just removed that stupid caption, I would have given it higher. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm grading this one. I like this cover. I think it's pretty cool, pretty memorable. This sword falling from above in the Rainbow Bridge of Asgard. You don't want to let these two reprobates, I'm talking Cobra and Hyde, You don't let them into Asgard. No, in Fantastic Four Annual 3, check this out, 1965. This is some Where's Waldo type of stuff. I believe I see him hiding in the background near the Wizard, all right? But you tell me if I'm wrong. But everything is tiny here, crazy stuff. Moving on, he ends up really coming into contact with Daredevil a lot. Interesting, going from Thor to Daredevil. This cover is like a passing of the guard almost. Like, you deal with these two, Daredevil. I'm a god of Asgard. This is beneath me. Yeah, this is a Gene Colan special. And not bad stuff. Yeah, I'm going to give this one 3.5. Nah, I'm going to give it a 4. What am I talking about? I'm downgrading. Nah, I shouldn't be doing that. I'm going to give this a nice 4. Yeah. All right. But yeah, they keep coming back. 31. Once again, Gene Colan did this. I don't like the yellow on the ground. That brings this down a lot. I'm not grading it. Let me keep moving. Whatever. This one I want to talk about. 32. Look at this. Mr. Hyde got him in a gorilla press. And the fearsome look on his face, and the man without fear. You see, even the word mark is blocked here, because I'm sure Daredevil is feeling fear. He's fighting the impossible fight. And look at Cobra in the back, creeping around as he usually does. I like this cover, man. I even like the blue brick for some reason. I like the color contrast. This Gene Colan work, I'm gonna give a 4. Yeah, interesting stuff. Okay, so back again, Daredevil. Look at this, the House of Mirrors with others, not just the Cobra, the Jesters hanging around as well. And on to Captain America. Look at this. He's teamed up with Scorpion this time around. Yeah, Falcon getting clocked by the tail. But yeah, in the very next issue, 152, in this one, May of 1972, Sal Buscema, Vince Coletta did this one, and he's tackling Cap out a window. Cap's in trouble, and he lost his shield. Check that out. Falcon in a trance there, it looks like. Sharon Carter trying to snap him out of it. You know, I do like this cover, I really do. But I don't like Falcon just kind of standing there. It bothers me way more than I guess it should. I know it's the point, that's the whole point, but the craziness of this tackle shattering the glass, I think, is really undone by the mundanity, is that the word for mundane, of what's going on with Falcon there. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 for that very reason. I'm being tough on this one, but I do like what's going on with Hyde here. Okay, back again in the mid-70s. This is November 76, Daredevil 142. John Buscema did this one. And yeah, look at, the lady. Ooh. I believe that's Karen Page. I'm assuming, okay? But yeah, they've got him in a twist here. Daredevil's in big trouble. Yes. All right, and issues later, 153, another window tackle. That's a pretty terrifying attack, don't you think? If you're in an office building, check your six, as this said. Check behind you. All right, and he dropped his billy club. He's in trouble right here. I like the perspective on this cover. I think this is pretty cool stuff. This is Gene Colan, man, and Klaus Janson. All right. I really like the drama of this cover. The man without fear, that statement being tested. Yeah, I think I'm going to give this one a solid 4. Very comparable to that Captain America one we saw where he was tackled out a window. I think this one does a slightly better job of it. All right, back again, the very next issue. The Jester, the Gladiator are involved now in the arena of no return. All right, the Purple Man, good lord. He, well, you don't really see him fully, but they're out to slay Daredevil. And Mr. Hyde doesn't need any incentive, does he? All right, Captain America 251, 1980 in August. John Byrne did this one. Batroc and Hyde teaming up, taking on Cap. in the shadows, lurking in those shadows. In the very next issue, they fight him on top of this Roxxon facility here. Cap losing his shield. Alright, but let's keep it moving. We don't have time, man, for everything. This one here is Amazing Spider-Man 232. This to me is a very impressive, unforgettable, memorable cover. Spider-Man's not even on it, but his spotlight logo is on the ground. And to me, that really is what makes this cover what it is. Usually I don't like covers where the main character isn't on it, but to me that does it right. This transformation of Zemo to Hyde as he takes a sip from a, what is that, a beaker? Is that what's called a beaker? You should never be drinking from those things. I don't care what it is. But yeah, look at this, man. He loses his glasses and then, rah! Yeah, he's ready for combat. He's ready to wreck everything. I was about to curse just now. Yeah, I like the pink here. I think it works, and I like how it fades into black, into the darkness on the ground. I love this cover. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it, man. I almost gave it a 5, but I gotta reserve that for the creme de la creme. But yes, of course, we also see him appear in Daredevil 235 in 1986. This is a Klaus Janson solo venture, and it's a return of Daredevil's deadliest foe, Mr. Hyde, as he rips down the side of a building in a fire. Man, again, the Man Without Fear, they took that off the cover because I think he's feeling something right now. This is a cool ass cover. This is a 4.5 in my books. Yes. And of course, in Avengers 274, he is part of the vicious and cruel destruction of Hercules. He plays a large role in that. During the story, he puts an exceptional beating on Jarvis, which, you know, almost maims him pretty much. One of the cruelest things I'd seen in comics. I was a new reader at the time, but very few things I'd ever read in comics, you know, stuck with me like that. I hate this dude. I hate Mr. Hyde, and I think that's the whole point of the character. You gotta hate him. When it comes to the evil meter, you know damn well he's irredeemable. There's nothing you can do to curb this man's enthusiasm for destroying lives. He's a monster. He's a 10 out of 10 when it comes to evil. There's no coming back for this dude. Squash him. Somebody squash this guy. Alright, and as far as his costume, he's wearing a cheap suit. He's like a meth head in a cheap suit. I can't give it anything but a 1. There's nothing I can say about this guy's look that redeems him. Anyways, he's recognizable. That's for damn sure. But come on, man. There's no way around that. Mr. Hyde, you're out of here. Now, are you prepared to join me in my nefarious deeds? Are you prepared to go to the nether regions of your soul, to your very humanity, to achieve your dreams as long as you scheme? If you're willing to scheme with me, and untold riches shall be yours. I'm just joking. But what did you think of the Masters of Evil? Man, was I on point with my evil meter? What was it? What do you think? Listen, there's a lot that's happened since then, since the takeover of Avengers Mansion. And shall we say, we must speak, of course, about the Thunderbolts. Alright, the Thunderbolts. I'm not talking about the movie. I have no idea what that movie had to do with the comics whatsoever. But that's a topic for another day. Alright, and in Thunderbolts, we are introduced to Citizen V. Alright, and Techno, Mach 1, Songbird, okay, Atlas, and Meteorite. And of course, they do battle with the Wrecking Crew in this issue. They put down the Wrecking Crew. Alright, but later, the big reveal, of course, they were members of course, the Masters of Evil, led by Baron Zemo, Citizen V. Alright, the Fixer being Techno. Alright, Beetle, we didn't talk about him as Mach 1. Screaming Mimi as Songbird, Goliath being Atlas, and Moonstone was Meteorite before. We won't talk about the ups and downs of the Thunderbolts and which ones became legit heroes, or which ones became just more cunning criminals out of it all. But what did you think of the Masters of Evil story in the Avengers, in that 5-parter? You know, I covered that what feels like a long time ago, alright? But that was one of my favorite tales of all time. And it really, you know, even back then as a young reader, I could see that not all evil was equal, if you could say. But there you go. This is the Pop Culture Cosmonaut. Like, comment, subscribe, and scheme. Scheme. Long live the Retro Comics Revolution.